Beautiful day it is today. What an incredible honor and pleasure to be with all of you, leaders of the FSM, leaders of the Pacific Northwest, and our citizens from the Federated States of Micronesia. Before I say a few words or deliver my short remarks, I want to join the earlier speakers in recognizing our important officials and VIPs and our citizens who are here today. A very important day, happy day to be celebrating FSM Community Day. Mike, thank you for emceeing this program. We thank you. I want to begin by recognizing my good friend, the Honorable Speaker of the FSM Congress, 21st FSM Congress, the Honorable Wesley Simina. I want to ask us to give him a round of applause because when I was sworn in as a member of Congress and later elected by the 14 members of the FSM Congress to be the 9th President of the Federated States of Micronesia, I said that my effort is to build an even stronger working relationship with the members of the FSM Congress. And I also said that my success as a president or your 9th president, wasn't my success alone. It was a success of my family, success of the citizens of the Federated States of Micronesia, and the success of the 21st FSM Congress. So thank you all. Speaker, my friend, thank you. Welcome to the Northwest, if I may say that. I want us to also recognize some of the leaders who are here, the governor of Chuuk State Government, a good friend, Governor, the Honorable Johnson Elimo from the state of Chuuk. I will also ask that we welcome the Honorable Twitter Haridos, who's chairman of the Chuuk delegation from the FSM Congress. I also ask that we welcome and recognize the Honorable Mark Milo, who's the president of the Chuuk State Legislature. The Honorable Arno Koni, the senator from Chuuk Legislature. The Honorable Junior Nomao, representative from Chuuk Legislature. And I want to say from our citizens, I want to also make a special recognition to a student who is among us this afternoon. And I believe that this student will be getting a special award today, and that is KJ Kofak, who's a high school graduate and a role model for the FSM students. Also, a special recognition, I want to recognize Lloyd Enian, who's been a friend of Micronesia from the COVA Alliance National Network. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. Thank you. On behalf of the government of the Federated States of Micronesia and on behalf of our citizens, today, on this occasion, FSM Community Day, I would like to also recognize those who are present here, the leaders of the Pacific Northwest, which is the state of Oregon and the state of Washington and other entities who are here. I will begin, may not necessarily be in the order of protocol, but please bear with me. I want to begin by recognizing the representative of the mayor, Cupid Alexander, because when the First Lady and I arrived a couple of days ago, I didn't know a group that welcomed us at the airport, Portland Airport, who joined our citizens, but they're called the Royal Rosarians. And we were given the beautiful roses of Portland as a city of roses. So on behalf of First Lady Trish and I, we thank the Portland Mayor's Office for the hospitable and beautiful welcome. We also would like to recognize Saborn Cheng and Hanny Chow, representing the Oregon Governor Kate Brown's office. We thank you for the beautiful statements and the speeches you delivered on behalf of the governor's office, and please convey our thanks to the governor. We thank you so much. We also want to recognize Grace Stratton, the representative from Senator Ron Wyden's office. Thank you for your statement of welcome. We also thank you. Look forward to working with Senator Wyden in Washington, D.C. And of course, our two senators from the state legislature here. I'd like all of us to recognize Senator Michael Tempro and Senator Lou Frederick, who's here. And they are as you know, when they were speaking, they are the major or chief sponsors or co-sponsors of the major bills and programs from the legislature that benefits our freely associated states citizens. So may I ask that we give these two gentlemen a round of applause. Thank you so much. As we were having breakfast the other day, I ran into a lady who was very kind, and she spoke a little bit while ago. Let's recognize the Honorable Carla Piloso, who is the representative from the Oregon legislature, and she's one of the ladies who's championing bills and programs that are benefiting our citizens, so we really truly appreciate that. We also want to recognize the Multnomah County Commissioner, Lori Steckman, if she's still here. And last but not the least, of course, our good mayor of Vancouver. Thank you for gracing us with your visit, and welcome to the program here. You know, I was going to say, after all the statements that you all made, that really, in no small measure, you are, or the Pacific Northwest is the true embodiment of the people-to-people relationship that reflects the very true spirit of partnership and the enduring relationship between the Federated States of Micronesia and the United States government and the people of the United States. Thank you so much for the great statements that you have said on all our behalf. Today, my dear citizens, I want to say that while we are celebrating the second FSM Community Day with all of you citizens here present in the Northwest, it couldn't be a more beautiful day to come together to celebrate our government, our progress, and the challenges that lay ahead as a nation. Some 40 years ago, I want to share that as a developing island nation, as a nation that was seeking self-determination, as was said by earlier, I don't know the name of the lady, but she talked about 40 years ago, and that we're celebrating our FSM Independence Day. Some 40 years ago, the Federated States of Micronesia ratified its constitution, and the beautiful constitution from which we read the preamble. And I thank you, Senator, for picking out some words from there to use in our people-to-people relationship. It's really beautiful. You know that with our relationship with the United States, going back in 1986, we signed the Treaty of the Compact of Reassociation during the Reagan administration. And a little before that, while we ratified our Constitution, we didn't quite achieve the desired sovereignty that FSM was looking for, because we were still under the strategic trust territory of the United Nations. Thereafter, the Security Council dissolved the Trusteeship Council, as you may know from history of the United Nations. And so from that time, FSM sought self-determination, and today we are a proud people. As a member of the United Nations, you will see that when you look at our federation, we have a vast expanse of ocean and airspace that if you superimpose it on the United States, it's probably going to cover close to 70% of the United States. So we are a an aquatic nation with over 600 islands spread out in this big, vast ocean. But if you take the Federated States of Micronesia and had Palau, the Republic of Palau, and the Republic of the Marshall Islands, all together, our airspace and our waters, if you superimpose it on the United States, it's probably going to be the same size, if not bigger than that. So I shared last night during the dinner with all of you friends that because of our political and geostrategic importance to the United States, we recently, the three presidents of the FAS, were invited by President Donald Trump to Washington, D.C., and that happened just about a week after I was sworn in as the 9th president of the Federated States of Micronesia. So, being your president, I always want to say that I continue to be your public servant, because it is true. We may occupy the highest office of our nation, but I want to share that I have been a public servant for many years as a diplomat, as a foreign service officer. I served in our embassy in Fiji. I served in our mission to the United Nations for a few years. And then I was a member of Congress, so I know what it's like to be a public servant. And I know a speaker who was speaking a little earlier, he spoke about making this place another polling place for our citizens, so that you can have your rights in terms of casting your votes and to participate in the nation building process that we all aspire to do. Just a week and a half ago, the leaders of the Pacific Island countries gathered in a small island in the island of Tuvalu. To get there, you had to fly to Fiji and then get on a smaller plane and fly to Tuvalu. It's a small island with about 10,000 people. And I was fortunate that going to Tuvalu, the Prime Minister of the island is a friend of mine. We went to diplomatic training together many years ago. And I want to share with you, because some of you talked about climate change. The 18 independent Pacific Island countries gathered in the island of Tuvalu to speak about the important issues to our, what we termed in the outcome of the meeting, the Blue Pacific Continent. And the Blue Pacific Continent, if you look at it, combining the 18 sovereign nations in the Pacific, we cover the last remaining common heritage that's still healthy in terms of the resources that we have in our expanse and big exclusive economic zones in the Pacific Islands. We gathered there annually. The Pacific Islands Forum, the last one was the 50th. The Pacific Islands Forum is the premier regional political organization of the Pacific Islands. And one of the things that we discussed was, of course, the prominent issue was climate change. And it's a difficult issue because today, as a couple of the senators spoke about, I want to pick up this climate change and speak about it a little bit, because when the 18 Pacific Island countries gathered, we nearly reached consensus. The Pacific style of leadership among the islands, I don't think there was ever any time that we put a vote to the outcomes, the general outcomes of the meeting. And this time around, it was almost put to a vote, which would have broken a tradition. And the reason being was that the 18 members of the Pacific Islands Forum included New Zealand and Australia. And of course, Australia being a more industrialized country, when the Prime Minister came, he was not quite agreeable to the language of the declaration. It's called Kainaki Declaration. Kainaki is a small town of Tuvalu. And he tried very hard to work in to water down the language, but the Pacific Island countries tried our best to also, in a diplomatic way, it didn't end too diplomatically, but to encourage the leadership of Australia to join the Pacific Island countries, because as Senator Tembro said a while ago, climate change is an existential threat to the Pacific Island countries, and it's happening. We're the front lines. We are the ones bearing the brunt of climate change. And so it turned out to be a good outcome. We had a communique that became the outcome of the meeting and a declaration. And I want to share with all of you that next month, the 18 members of the Pacific Island countries will be visiting and be going to the United Nations to advocate further this very issue. And for the first time, the Secretary General of the United Nations and the membership of the United Nations adopted resolution calling for a closer working relationship with the Pacific Island countries. It's never been done before. So this is some hope that we look forward. Thank you. There is hope that we can look forward to doing this at the United Nations at the highest level when the leaders of the world will gather to speak. And I plan during that occasion to call on the United States, because United States is the really closest ally that we have in the Pacific Island countries, the closest we have. And I tell you, it's very special. And calling upon the United States is a respectful call to ask the United States to champion the cause of climate change. Because I know we have faith in the people of the United States, the industry, and the movement of technology that it's going in that direction. The position is difficult by the United States because it's set by the leadership. But what I said when the media calls on us, we say that we have faith in the United States citizens, its tech industry and the direction it's going. And I think that's the best we can put it. And then I said again that I trust that the United States position will change in the long run, because development is beautiful, and when I look at the United States and Australia and other places, your development so much is invested on the coastal areas like California, Florida, New York, and many places. So I said that United States might as well be a developing island nation or a coastal nation or an atoll, because you have much to also be concerned about. So I leave climate change there and move on to say a few more things. Speaker spoke about the Secretary of State, Michael Pompeo, visiting our country. And when we were invited by President Trump to the United States, the three presidents for the first time were able to meet the head of the United States government, Donald Trump. We each had our individual meetings with Donald Trump, and then a multilateral meeting with Donald Trump on the very important issues of the relationship between the FSM and the United States. And then shortly after that, we had an historic visit from Secretary of State Michael Pompeo to our capital. And we were so pleased to welcome Secretary Pompeo, because he brought the news, and that's the news that you citizens, I know you're excited about. It's the news we've been waiting for. When we were in DC and Michael Pompeo asked how can they help us, I quickly raised that we're asking that they give the green light. I think within the Department of State, there is a process, internal process that they have to do, which is authorizing the negotiating authority when they will begin meeting or negotiating with a foreign government. So when he announced that he will visit Bombay, and he finally came and we met, he told me, he said, Mr. President, I told you I was going to come to Bombay, and I didn't believe it. So let us give the United States government a big round of applause for the inspiration and the relationship that is very important. And so for the citizens, all of you who are residing in the U.S., I want to share that if you look at our distribution of our population from the territories of Saipan, CNMI to Guam, to the state of Hawaii and mainland U.S., I don't know if we've really accounted, but the informal surveys we've done, we are close to 40-some thousand, if not close to 50,000 spread in all the regions across here. So Speaker was right that We need to have Portland, maybe Kansas City, and few more cities where there's a concentration of our citizens to be to have a polling place, because you as citizens have the right to directly participate in voting, because that's how you feel like you're part of our nation building process. So that's very important, and I thank the speaker for that encouragement. The one thing and the special programs under our treaty with the United States, I want to tell you that we assure the United States that our relationship is enduring and will continue to be enduring in the foreseeable future. Under the treaty with the United States, a component that's very important is the building of the FSM U.S. Compact Trust Fund. And that trust fund, we project that it will reach 1.2 billion by 2023, around that time. And FSM has also built a sovereign trust fund that's also building on your behalf and for future generations, a trust fund, sovereign trust fund that over the last 4.5 years, we built it from 7 million to about 260 million. And so I'm proud to share this with all of you, our citizens, because this is something that we take it very seriously. By the time we reach 2023, we believe that these trust funds combined will be over $1 billion and will help in the to supplement our future budgets, the interest of these two trust funds. And so we have exciting times ahead of us as a nation, as we will continue to work with the United States in renewing the expiring provisions of our compact or our treaty. And the United States, I will tell you, United States is a strong ally. United States has the denial powers over our airspace that I described. For any foreign government that may come in, which is not going to be in the best interest of the security and peace of both combined our nations and the United States. So we're proud of this relationship and look forward to building upon it in the years to come. So I thank you all. I know I've been given a lot of bullet points to touch, but you all have covered a very important part, and that is the people-to-people relationship that we have between our citizens who are here residing in the Northwest. Pacific Northwest. I will, on behalf of the government and the people of the FSM, thank the leaders of both states, Oregon and Washington, for the hospitality and for your being a partner in making sure that our citizens are given same rights as United States citizens. In the treaty that we have, I want to say that the United States protects our citizens in the treaty relationship, protects us as though we are citizens of the U.S. or as though we are one of the states of the United States. So it's that special. One of the representatives that speak about our citizens, we do serve in the U.S. Armed Forces at a higher rate per capita than any nation, even the United States government. So it was refreshing when we went to Washington, D.C., and very emotional when we were given a chance to visit the Tomb of Unknown Soldiers at the Arlington Cemetery. When we visited there and laid the wreath, it was emotional because our citizens do serve in the U.S. Armed Forces, and we have fallen soldiers in Micronesia. So every time U.S. Officials visit, we also do the solemn ceremony of laying wreaths to respect those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom of our citizens, both FSM and the United States. So I'd like to talk more here, but I think today is a time to enjoy the festivities. I thank the community of our FSM here in the Pacific Northwest for the beautiful exhibition of our culture, our tradition. I thank you all for being good citizens. I did say last night during the dinner that you being here, you are the reflection of our nation in terms of how you behave, what you do. So we appreciate all the things that you do in this country. And please to remember that you are guests in Oregon, in the state of Washington, and throughout the United States. So please to behave and give it your best so that we can be true participants in this great nation, the United States. So I'd like to thank all of you and here express again our appreciation and thank you for giving me the honor to say a few words during this special occasion. God bless the people of the Federated States of Micronesia, and God bless the people of the United States and our enduring partnership. Thank you so much. Halangan.